What's going on, everybody? Kalipis Tech here, coming back at you with another video. In this video, I'm going to be giving you some camera tips and tricks for the Samsung Galaxy A36 5G. So let's get into it. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you is a quick way to actually open your camera. Now, this is active by default, so you don't have to do anything special for it. But essentially, to open your camera quickly, no matter what screen you're on, all you have to do is double press your power key right here. So like this, and it's going to open right up. So definitely a nice convenient feature, and again, you can be on pretty much any kind of app or whatever. So if you just double press the power key again, there we go. So definitely a nice feature here. Now, in addition to this, although the feature again is active by default, there are a couple settings you can change. So to do this, what you're going to want to do is go to settings. And in case it's not on your home screen, I honestly don't remember if it starts on here or not. You can also get to settings by pulling down like this, and it's right here. So once we're in the settings, from here you're going to want to go to advanced features. So right here. From this menu, go to side button. And here we go. So right here by default, double press will activate the camera. Now, if for whatever reason you want to turn it off, I mean, maybe you're just constantly turning it on by accident. So if that's the case, then you can always turn it off. But in addition to this, if we actually go to double press, so it has to be on, you can change it to a few different things. So the most significant thing here is if you use a different app that's not the native camera app, like maybe you use like a Snapchat type app, or maybe like, I know there's a camera app called Open Camera that some people like. So in that kind of situation, you can have it open that instead. So definitely a nice little feature here. And while we're on this menu, I want to just point out real quick, if you're new to this kind of phone, you might be expecting pressing and holding your power key to actually work pretty much like a power key, but unfortunately that's not the case by default, at least. So I'm going to do that real quick. And as you can see, that's not the power key, or at least it doesn't work like one. But you can actually have it turn the phone off. So right here in this same side button menu, where it says long press, we're going to go here. And then we have a couple different options here. So by default, it will open the Google Assistant. If you use Bixby, you can use that instead. And then finally, the one I feel like most people are probably going to be looking for, you can have it open the power menu too. So now if I do it again, so press and hold, there we go. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to use the ultrawide camera. Now, to give you a quick rundown of the camera setup here, with this phone, we got a triple camera setup with a 50 megapixel main camera, an 8 megapixel ultrawide camera, and a 5 megapixel macro camera. So definitely a nice camera setup here. And with the ultrawide camera, it really does make a difference, especially if you're trying to take like scenery photos, group photos, maybe you travel a lot and you want more of a variety of features. Having an ultra-wide camera helps you get those wider angles, so definitely a nice thing to have. Now, going to our main camera screen here, it's real simple. To get to your ultra-wide camera, all you have to do is hit this 0.5 right here. And that's pretty much it. So as you can see, I can fit a lot more in the frame. You can see my wall and all these random wires here, whatever. And then of course, to get back to your normal camera, just hit the 1 right here. And that's pretty much it. Now, in addition to this, this is one of those phones where you can zoom out into it too. So to zoom in and out, you can go like this. So right on the screen, just pinch to zoom in and then zoom out, and you can zoom out all the way to the ultra-wide camera. So there we go. Now from here, I want to show you a couple different camera modes that people are probably going to be looking for at one point or another. So right now we are back in the main camera setting. From here, you can go to portrait mode. So if you want to get those nice blurred out backgrounds. If we go over here, we got video mode, pretty standard. And I almost forgot about this because I personally never use it, but fun mode is basically like Snapchat filters and stuff like that. Then if we go all the way to the right here, we get to the more section. From this section, we got a few different modes, so Pro mode and Pro video. This is basically gonna give you a little bit more freedom over stuff like the lighting and all that. Then from here, we also got night mode. Now, in my experience, the only time you're really gonna need night mode is if you're outside at night or something like that. By all means, definitely give it a try, but I feel like the lighting does adjust on the regular camera mode a lot better than you might think. There's also food mode. I'm gonna be honest, I've never actually tried this, but It is there if you want to use it. Panorama, then macro mode. So again, this phone does have a 5 megapixel macro camera, and this will help you get those close-up detailed images. So not that this really does it any justice, but in practice, in my experience, the macro camera on this phone is pretty nice. Then in addition to this, we got super slow-mo, regular slow-mo, hyperlapse, and then single take. So definitely some nice features here, and if you find yourself using one of them really often and you want to put it down here, you can actually do this. So if you go to edit, this is going to allow you to move things around, and say you use macro mode a lot, you can put it down here. So it does make it a bit more convenient to access. Now from here, the next thing I'm going to show you is how to change your aspect ratio. Now with this phone, I feel like Samsung's interface is a little bit different than it used to be. So if you haven't gotten a new phone for a while, or maybe you haven't updated your phone for a while, you might be expecting the settings and all that to be up here, but with the A36 5G, and I imagine most newer Samsung phones too, to change your aspect ratio, what you're gonna do is hit these 4 dots right here. And then from here, it's right here. So as you can see, by default, we are in 3x4, but you can also do 9x16, 1x1, or full. And then of course, if you're in 3x4 or 9x16, if you go to landscape mode, that is gonna adjust too. Now the next thing I'm gonna show you is how to disable the shutter sound. Now by default, it will make a little sound when you activate the shutter. So I don't know if you can hear this, but it's not really that loud, but I imagine a lot of people don't really want to hear it every time you take a picture. So if you ever want to turn it off, go to the dots down here. Then from here, go to settings. And then from here, scroll down just a bit. And again, by default, this will be on, but as you can see right here, shutter sound, toggle it off. And now whenever you take a picture, it's not going to make any more sound. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to control the flash. Now this is pretty easy. As you can see right up here, this flash icon, by default it will be off, but you can turn it on. Just keep in mind when it's in on mode, of course, the flash will activate pretty much every time you take a picture. So there we go. And yeah, sometimes it comes out better than others. You just kind of have to play around and see what works best for you. But then in addition to on mode and off mode, you can also go to auto mode. So auto mode is pretty cool because this basically has the phone's AI detect when you actually need the flash. So that way it only goes off when it's necessary. And first of all, this saves battery. And second of all, it makes it a bit more convenient because then you don't have to guess like, oh, maybe I need to use the flash. And then by the time you figure out whether you want to turn flash on or off, maybe the opportunity to take a picture is gone. So definitely nice to have the auto option. Now, for me personally, I like to just leave it off, but obviously it's really going to be based on preference and what setting you're taking a picture in. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to change the video resolution. Now I am happy to say that with this phone, we can actually record 4K videos up to 30 frames per second. So not 60 FPS unfortunately, but I feel like the vast majority of people are maybe not even going to use 4K, let alone a higher frame rate like that. So it is what it is, not really a big deal. At least we can record 4K videos, so definitely nice. So to change your video resolution, of course, the first thing you're going to want to do is go to video mode. Then from here, right in the top right corner, we can see the video resolution. So in case you don't know, UHD or Ultra HD, that is 4K. But if you tap on this, you can also record in FHD, which is going to be 1080p. And you can record 1080p at 60 frames per second too, and then 720p as well. So definitely nice to have some options here. The next thing I'm going to show you is kind of similar, but that's how to use high megapixel mode. Now, despite having a 50 megapixel main camera, with the Samsung Galaxy A36 5G, when you're just casually taking regular photos, it's not actually going to use the full 50 megapixels. And the reason for this is at 50 megapixels, the files are going to be quite a bit larger, and for most people, you really won't need that too often. But if you ever do want to get a really nice, super detailed picture, and you don't mind taking up a bit more space in your storage, in that case, you can use high megapixel mode. So from the main camera screen, we're going to want to go right kind of where you were to change your video resolution. And right here where it says 12M, that basically means that the phone is using 12 megapixels to take photos. But if you tap on this, you can go to 50 instead. So yeah, again, just keep in mind, despite being really high quality, the photos are going to be a bit larger, and if you're trying to save space, I mean, this phone does have pretty good storage, so yeah, as you can see, the details are really good. I can zoom in all the way and it doesn't get super grainy or anything like that. So definitely nice for those maybe more close-up shots. But yeah, again, keep in mind, these files are a bit larger, so if you're taking a lot of pictures, just be mindful of how much space you have left. Now I'm going to show you a couple different things you can do with the volume keys. Now by default, if you press either volume up or volume down, they do the same thing. So it's really just going to be like an external shutter button. So this might sound kind of useless, but in my experience, it is kind of cool because if you're holding your phone like this, maybe taking some kind of landscape photo, then you don't have to mess up your grip and reach for the camera button and mess everything up. You can simply just go like this, and that's pretty much it. So I personally like it like this, and I don't really change it, but if you do want some other options, what you can do is go to settings. So again, it's going to be these dots down here. Then from here, go to settings, and then from here, go to where it says shooting methods. So it's going to be down and right here. And then from here, go to where it says press volume buttons. So I'm going to open this. So again, by default, it will take a picture or record a video depending, of course, on which mode you're in. But you can also zoom in or out or control sound volume. Now, probably the last one is not that useful, but at least it's there. But for this, let's go to zoom in or out. And now if I go back to the camera, volume up is going to zoom in, and then volume down is going to zoom out. So if you want yet another way to access the ultrawide camera, this could be one too. But yeah, kind of cool that you have the option. I personally still stick with the shutter button, but it's always nice to be able to customize things. So one other thing I did want to show you in this kind of general section here. So if we go back to shooting methods, I'm going to change this back real quick. But another cool feature I really like on this phone is the floating shutter button. Now, if you're coming from another Samsung, this is not really going to be new, but I still feel like it's worth mentioning. But essentially, if I toggle this on and go back to the camera, there's basically just going to be an extra shutter here. And while it's not like a groundbreaking feature or anything, what this is going to do is allow you to move it around. So if you're gripping the phone at an awkward angle, so again, if you're taking like a landscape photo or like a selfie, using your phone with your offhand, whatever the case may be, it just makes it a little bit more convenient. And then finally, the last thing I'm going to show you is the motion photo feature. Some other Androids and iPhones call it live photos, but it's basically just a photo that moves just a little bit. Now, if you're taking photos regularly, you can have this feature on and it's not really going to make a huge difference, but the main purpose of this feature is if you're trying to take a picture of something that's moving, under normal circumstances, it's usually going to come out blurry, but with the motion photo, it's going to give you a lot of takes of that, so you can get something that's moving and get that cool effect. Now to turn this on, what you're gonna do is go to the dots down here and then find this icon right here. Kind of looks like a YouTube play button. So tap on this and then it's gonna say motion photo on. So you can see right up here too. And you can also toggle it on and off from here. So pretty cool. And again, if you're taking just a regular photo, it's not really gonna make a huge difference, but like, now if I go back here, yeah, so aside from it saying motion photo, it's not really going to make a huge difference. It just looks like a regular photo, so it's not a GIF image or whatever. But if you hit view motion photo, it's going to show the motion a little bit, and then it's going to allow you to keep whatever take you want. So to look at the frames, there's going to be an icon right down here, so press on this, and that's going to let you choose whichever one you want to keep. So if you have, like, maybe you're taking a picture of somebody on a bike passing you, a lot of those takes are going to be a little bit blurry, but since it does catch the whole motion, you'll be able to get that one still shot that looks really nice. But those were my camera tips and tricks for the Samsung Galaxy A36 5G. Hopefully you enjoyed the video and learned something. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one.